Cheers, enjoy the bit. Yes, I know I messed it up again. You'd think after 70 odd shows I would know how this works. Yes, welcome along. If anybody is out there watching, I don't know, but welcome along back to the channel with another live beer review with me, a disco, coming at you from in front of the cans and bottles. On the bar, I'm still ridiculously calling the Disco Arms. And talking of ridiculous, got some potentially ridiculous beers today, really. As you see from the title, they're all beetroot beers. Why? Well, because these things amuse me, and I do like an unusual or strange or downright weird adjunct. I get bored of just the four regular beer ingredients. I don't get bored. I always try different stuff. That's what it is. So yeah, rather than just a normal IPA or even a normal stout, I do like something a little bit different. Just me, just the way I am. Like I say, these things amuse me. If anybody else out there has got or likes something unusual, do let me know what you're drinking along with in the comments below. And then we'll see what these beers come out like. And today I'm asking the question, how much beetroot is too much beetroot? Is 3 beetroot beers too much? Will everything go red? Will I piss red in the morning? That would be worrying. Will my tongue go red? Like blue beers, isn't it? But yeah, anyway, so let's crack swiftly on. Whether anybody's watching or not, I've no idea. And go straight on to beer number 1, please. Beer number 1. It's an unusual little number, and again a weird one to start. It's in a 500ml can. I've got a 500ml glass. So for it, I've got a dinky little bowl, but it's a brewery called Pivovar Vik. Pivovar is Czech for brewery. I don't know what Vik necessarily means, but here we go. This is a 6.2% beetroot Imperial Gose. I think they might have a different meaning of the word Imperial in Czechia, but 6.2% is fairly strong enough, isn't it? Let's put it into the delightful Pivovar Vik glass they kindly provided to me. And well, straight up, we do have something rather lovely. I don't mind a lovely red coloured beer, and that is proper crimson-y kind of red. With nice head development. It seems to be staying around for a Gose. Gose. I call it Gose because we're in England and we can call it what we like. Bit rude, but there you go. Let me see. We'll step aside before that head dissipates, and it doesn't look like it's going to, but I'm going to do the photograph anyway. As I say, do let me know if you're drinking along. It's a Thursday night. Rare that I do a Thursday stream, maybe. Yeah, did a couple on Monday, and then I didn't get a chance really to do one yesterday or Tuesday, to be fair. So I thought, well, we'll do this one today. Got some big beers on it, and I haven't really got to go to work in the morning. So a big beer Thursday is not a bad thing for a Thursday tipple. Not happy with that. So yeah, starting off with a big one at 6.2%. And it's a Gose and it's got beetroot in, so anything could happen from here on in. Like I say, delightful colour. That red, glowing kind of crimsony red, better in the light. I'd say delightful can art until you look quite closely at it. Nice pinky red colours. I'm talking of pinkies. A couple of fingers on the can if you look closely. You start down the bottom, they look like, I don't know, popsicles, ice pops. And then that's kind of, then you realise it's kind of bone or sinew. I'm not sure what. But yeah. And also, I mean, something a bit different from Czech Republic. You normally think Czech beers generally follow the German model of perfectly decent lagers, but their version of the Reinheitsgebot with only 4 ingredients in. There is a whole bunch of more craft style breweries popping up, doing some different stuff, and there's a whole lot of traditional Czech breweries moving into IPAs and stouts and other random stuff. Vik seemed to be one of those different breweries, and I've met them and chatted to the guys at Vik last year. You may remember that video. If not, it's up there if you can be bothered to go back and check out me junkily wandering around the Czech embassy in London on Czech soil. So I visited the Czech Republic for the afternoon where they put on a show, get a bunch of breweries together, and we get to try some beers. If you're on the right list, somehow I am. No idea how I do it. Well, I do, but you know. Yeah, got a couple of videos out. Me and Rasko did them a few years back prior to COVID, and then when it started up again, been for the last couple of years. So let's get into this one. Just see exactly what beetrootness we're getting into on this one. As far as I know, just beetroot. The ones coming up with the stouts, I've got more than just beetroot in. Not too much on the aroma. It's not. I mean, you look at that kind of delightful red colour and you think kind of fruitiness going on. Nothing too much, but also none of the savouriness you might expect from something with beetroot in it. Well, let's go for the taste in that case. Cheers, or as they would say in Czech Republic, na zdraví. Wow. It's not quite one of those wow, that's amazing moments, but it is a wow, that's interesting. As I say, a 500ml can. So there is some kind of fruitiness going on in there. I don't know. I think it might be psychosomatic. I'm thinking cherry because of the kind of cherry red colour. There's no real hint of beetroot. Normally, when you think of beetroot, because most beetroot in this country is kind of served pickled, so you think of that kind of sour kind of note, but there's none of that here, really, even as a sour, as a Gose. Hoppers in. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you, sir. Lovely chats this afternoon on the messagings. Only for 5 minutes. That's all you need, probably. Yeah, I'm drinking beetroot beers. I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I'm drinking beetroot beers because why not? And delightful as always. Well, this is what I'm going to find out. Will everything turn red in the morning with 3 beers with beetroot in, never mind just one? I don't mind a bit of beetroot. Like I say, normally in this country you sort of see pickled beetroot. It's very rare to see it. Well, yeah, you do see raw on the shelves. You do see them. I saw one the other day. I was going to pick up some beetroot food to go with this and never got around to it on my way home this afternoon. That's what I was meant to do, go to the shops. I knew there was something on the way home. But anyway, yeah, so I do like those beetroot crisps because they're not that kind of particularly vinaigrette. This isn't particularly vinegary for a sour. It has got a really odd fruit component, somewhere between cherries and red currants. I don't get too much savoury either. You know, I think a Gose kind of a bit of salinity, and there isn't really. Maybe that'll be later on. Say 500 ml to get through, and it's going down all right. Like I say, because of that kind of fruitiness, there is a sort of easy drinking kind of ice lolly sorbet about this. It's got a kind of, it's got a little fizz to it, so it's like a kind of, yeah, like a fizzy pop almost. It's there's the savouriness a little bit later, a little bit of herbiness. Once the fruit's gone, there's a salinity coming through very late. A really nice beer. Overlook the beetroot, overlook the slightly random nature of it. It's a really nice, well done beer. It's not too sour. It's not mouth pucking. I don't think you'd want that with beetroot. It's got some character to it. It's got, like I say, plenty of fruitiness, a little bit of salinity later, savouriness. They kind of complement each other, bounce off each other, balance each other out a little bit. It's a really unusual one. It's probably one people would overlook because it says beetroot. Have a look on the can in a minute, see what else is in there, what I'm missing. It does feel like something, but yeah, it feels like really nice cherry kind of sweets, boiled sweets and ice lollies. Really odd, but really nice. Hopper's drinking a shapeshifter from the brewery you sneakily spotted on my video today. That would be the guys at Turning Point. Bit of a fan. Nectar on hop. Yeah, nectar on hops are ones I haven't. If it's just a single hop beer and it's on their website, I might have a look. I'm probably putting in a Turning Point order tomorrow. Tomorrow is Custard Release Day, their annual birthday release of the custard beers. 3 custard pale, or not necessarily pale ales, 2 custard pales and a custard stout. Custard pale ale, rhubarb custard pale, and a mad Caribbean chocolate cake, I think, and custard stout in collab with Siren. So I shall be on in the morning placing an order. There we go. He's gone and spoiled it all by saying something stupid like Amarillo and Simcoe for that matter. I want to like Nectron, but I'm not sure. Well, I'll have a look at that one anyway because I'll be on the website in the morning at Turning Point. I'm glad you pointed out for some, again, slightly silly beers, slightly adjuncted beers. Yeah, rhubarb's not a mad adjunct, certainly not as mad as beetroot to put in a beer, especially it's from Yorkshire. Sounds kind of my thing. So yeah, I'll be looking at Turning Point in the morning, getting an order in. Turning Point are, I say, a big favourite of mine, again because of the slightly silly beers that they do and the kind of adjuncted stouts that they're pretty good at, and also first come to prominence when I see Disco King and sort of followed them quite a lot from there. I think between them and Brass Castle was probably the most amount of beers I've ordered from any one brewery. Massive sparkle of salinity there. Really late on in down the glass. Again, balances that fruitiness out. There is, I don't know, don't really go around drinking beetroot juice, but it feels like that's, if you squeeze the beetroot, you'd get that kind of fruity and savoury note out of the juice rather than that kind of sort of earthy kind of non-note you get out of eating plain beetroot. There's a little bit of earthiness there around that salinity, but it's just a really nice beer. I picked this one up from Left Field on an order a few weeks ago, not specifically because I was after the beetroot, but just because I was doing something else and I saw them there. Somehow it came up, and because I'd had them before last year on Vic's beers last year. They didn't have this one at the festival. They had the other one, the Gooseberry Gose, which again was quite delicately sour, as is this one. So I picked them up, but I believe this one's also, and another one that Vic do is available at Trembling Madness. I know that because I was looking at Trembling Madness and buying more beer I don't need today. Don't need it, just want it. It's there. Might as well. And for very specific reasons, including some more Czech beer, actually, some Czech dark lager I got in today. Reasons that may become clear later. This is really, really nice. Brilliant summer beer. Like I say, I normally like to put a sour or ghost across the palate if I'm doing a bit of a session, you know. Once you've done all the IPAs and double IPAs, kind of just break that rhythm a bit and bring some vitamin C hit, pep up a little bit. And this certainly is a pep kind of beer. It's just kind of invigorating, that kind of sparkle of salinity alongside that nice, really nice fruit note. If it hadn't have been called beetroot on the can, you'd give that to me blind. I would not know I was drinking beetroot. There's that, like I say, it's kind of sweet cherry, red currant kind of fruit note. Maybe, again, that's just because of the colour of the beer. I don't know. Let's see if there's any. I'm not sure if there's any English on the can, or is it all in Czech? 500ml, 6.2%. 8 IBU. Don't understand IBUs. I'd have to look that up. I think 8 is very, very low because there isn't just that bitterness there. I won't attempt to read the Czech. I don't have to, although I recognise some of those words because they do translate it very kindly. It says beer not filtered, unpasteurised. Best before the 1st of the 10th, 2025. All these beers will be in date because I got them all this year, so nothing's sitting about. Ingredients: water, oat flakes. Okay, that would account for the softness. Barley malt, wheat, hops, and beetroot. Yeah, it doesn't say what the hops are. Doesn't indicate anything other than beetroot to get that fruity note or indeed the savouriness. So does feel like there's a bit of like, what do you have with beetroot? I normally have horseradish with beetroot. Feels like not parsley, but some kind of maybe coriander, perhaps. Something like that. Yeah, so a really nice beer. Really good sweetness, a little sticky late on, very easily smashable. I'm sure. But no problem. Have a great evening and a great weekend, sir. Thanks for popping in, saying hello. Enjoy the beers. I look forward to those reviews. Yes, I will let everybody know if there's anything untoward, urinally, in me piss. I leave Hopper to do the rudeness. I want to see if my piss is red, mate. I want to see if my piss is red, innit? Right, yes. Cheers, Hopper. Thanks for popping in. Enjoy the beers. Not too much in the way of lacing, but there's someone who's alcohol legs there. There's a little bit of lacing going on. Cheers. Yeah, fantastic beer. Really, really fantastic. Isn't it? Yeah, fantastic beer. Really nice, really enjoyable. Not to everyone's taste, but I don't think there's anything too wild about that flavour, that combination. I say that kind of cherry-like fruitiness. Really, yeah, really lovely. I can't show you any of that video. Don't watch yourself if I get to put the flag up afterwards, because I don't think I actually reviewed any of Vic's beers on that live, and I don't really see them around a lot. Don't know really very much about the brewery, despite a little side interest in Czech beers on often enough. That's fabulous, really nice. I tell you what, for 500ml, I'll smash that down. That's just nothing left in there. It's just really, really drinkable, kind of refreshing. It feels like raspberry as well. Now, it just doesn't taste like beetroot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I quite like beetroot. I don't eat it on a regular, but you know, yeah, I don't know where the beetroot is or goes, or maybe that's just what beetroot juice does. That kind of, yeah, maybe it's psychosomatic because it looks like a cherry and raspberry sour, but it's really nice. Really weird. Really weird. It looks like raspberry popsicles until you see the fingernails. Yeah, really odd. Really, really nice. I don't really want to smash that back, but I have got another one, so I'm going to put that back in the fridge maybe the next time and try that, because that's just a really delightful beer. Really, really nice. Cheers. Ting ting. That is a absolute bell ringing winner, that one. Yeah, really enjoyed that. What a great start. Great start. And as you know, my love of stouts, I've got stouts coming up, so hopefully can only get better, if not be just as good. So let's move swiftly on to beer number 2, please. And beer number 2, we're going out west, or west of where I am in London, over to Bristol for New Bristol Brewery. It worked out what Old Bristol Brewery was, but there's lots of breweries in Bristol. This one is called New Bristol. First time I've had cans from them. I've definitely had them about the place. And it's one of those breweries that I keep meaning to get some stuff from and sort of keep umming and ahhing about which ones not to get, because they have so much decent beers or decent sounding beers, especially some interestingly adjuncted stouts. This Cinder Toffee, for example. This one is Double Choc Beetroot Cake Stout. Now that may sound a little weird. Let's get that into a glass. To some people, if you've never had a beetroot and chocolate stout, apparently the flavors go really well together. I've had them once or twice. And again, I guess now, maybe it's that kind of fruit component. That pours out nice and gloopy. It looks quite thick. Slightly thin head, though. Not great on the head development. But a nice kind of pinky red colour on the head. More so to the naked eye. Nobody in to remind me about the photos today. Oh no, yes there is. Cheers, Choc. Welcome along. How do you feel about beetroot? So I'm going to take a photograph. Yeah, nice looking. Actually, the head's not too bad. It is quite thin, but there's some good bubbles on it. Still haven't got the lighting right in here for that, but let's have a look. See if I can get this up. Again, also nice on the can art. The usual Spaceman Gorilla combination, which is actually fairly iconic, I think. If you see New Bristol around, it is, I think, fairly recognisable. That's a beer quiz question waiting to trip me up, isn't it? But yeah, no, I think I recognise New Bristol. Like a look at that one, it's pretty much in focus. Now, as always, defeated by gravity over it. And the bad nose. Right, let's see who's still around. Right, yeah, so it looks good in the glass, I think. Slightly more erring towards dark brown than jet black. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I have no direct way of contacting him. I only really chat to him through here. I mean, maybe he's just on holiday. Maybe he's gone away. Maybe he's doing other stuff because it's Easter. I don't know. Thanks, Choc. Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, Dave Wilson is grand. You have to assume so. He'd say the other week, yeah, he always likes to pop in, enjoys the streams and talking about the beer and seeing which ones he's had. I thought he'd enjoy these ones as well. But yeah, maybe we'll catch up with him at some point. If you are out there, Mr. Wilson, hope everything is grand and you're enjoying the beers. Right, so nice. Yeah, that smells of chocolate, but there is a kind of fruity background on that as well. Maybe I'm still thinking cherries after the last one. I don't know. Maybe once again it's just my dodgy nasal passages. Beetroot, different kind of sugar, like as in fructose, or different again to fruit sugars, or is it a kind of fruit sugar? I'd never thought of that. That's an interesting one. Like I say, that previous one was definitely like fruity. This one, kind of cherries, raspberries, red currants, all sweet as well. That head is now dissipated, but there is a little kind of pinkish brown ring going on. Yeah, definitely chocolate. Almost smells like a chocolate gatto, kind of chocolate cream icing kind of thing, but with a kind of savoury note and a kind of fruit note as well. Really interesting. Let's get it down. I'm really keen for this one. 6%. So good strength. Cheers. Oh, ooh, ooh. I didn't know if it would give a fruity flavour. It would get a pink colour. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, that would account for that first one with the pinky reddy kind of crimsony colour, and the head in this one. That's immense as a beer. I would say immense is a word. Definitely very much like a chocolate gatto. Probably a whole bunch of oats in that, but they've held off. I think, I guess, with that kind of roasty malt that gives that kind of roasty coffee kind of flavour. Very much all about the chocolate. There's a little bit of bourbon biscuit in there. The chocolate, more the chocolate creamy bit of a bourbon biscuit rather than that coffee kind of note. That's what I always say with porters, but it's definitely a stout with a slight roasty note in it, but it's more about chocolate gatto. The mouthfeel is chocolate gatto a little bit as well. Not unctuously luxurious cakey, but definitely there's a bit of chocolate sponge in there. Really nice. Do all their beers have that pick? No, well, no. This New Bristol, I got about 3 or 4 other stouts from them. They're pretty good at adjuncted stouts. From what I've heard, it's the first time I've really got an order. Got any cans from New Bristol. I've definitely had one of their beers before somewhere along the line, but it's the first time I've got. Although I didn't get them direct from New Bristol, I could have got them in, but I went with left field up in Yorkshire instead. So this is for me. I think this is the first look at New Bristol that I can definitely remember. Anyway, it's like birthday cake. That's like chocolate sponge cake with pink icing. That is. It's again chocolate to the fore. Definitely chocolate cake, chocolate gatto, chocolate cream. There's a sort of background edge. That kind of cakey kind of mouthfeel is kind of masks a little bit of the sort of savoury edge to it. It's kind of, I'm not quite sure where the beetroot is, but there's a sort of faint fruity kind of overtone or background to it. But it's very well masked by the chocolate cake. but it definitely stands up on its own. I think later on that fruit might come in. It's kind of there in the background. Sort of savoury kind of fruit note. I like it. I really like it. It's brilliantly well put together beer. Again, nicely balanced. Sits well across that chocolate cake sweetness. I say that background kind of fruit. It does make it unbalanced. It just makes it kind of there in the background. Okay, it's interesting. So ingredients, all the usual stuff: water, malt, wheat, hops. Doesn't say oats, maltodextrin, vanilla. Never get vanilla. Cacao, beetroot, yeast, and then it just says cake. Cake. It's that sort of shouts cake. Don't know. It doesn't say what cake. Actual chocolate cake. I mean, why not? You use leftover bread in beers. Ah, hang on. Right. I saw this late on. It is a collaboration. I saw the extra logo on there. I thought it was part of the artwork. It's not. It says AKA Toots. So unless it's a collaboration with a local like cake shop or supplier or something like that. Is there any description? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Right, so it does actually say what hops. Looking further around the can, it says taste chocolate, vanilla, beetroot, cake, and this cake actually has an exclamation mark. So yeah, hops. It says Hewkins Bullion. I assume that's one hop because there's no comma. Bullion, I think I've heard of, but no, absolutely nothing. But I wouldn't expect it to be a massively hopped beer necessarily, being a good voluminous stout. Hot ink, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. How do you feel about this? Beetroot and chocolate cake. That's what we're talking about now. Some brewers will put actual cake in the mash. Well, I suppose there's sugars to be extracted from it, isn't there? There's starches in there, so I don't see why not. Like I say, got a few breweries in this country putting leftover bread, again, to extract whatever's left, sugars and starches, etc., out of the grain. So why not? Why not? Yeah, so Hewkins Bullion. All right, then very, very far down, right at the bottom, it says, we've teamed up with Bristol's cake artists, R Toots, and Lothran Brewers Select. I should have worn my hat. Got a hat from them. To craft a stout inspired by an R Toots classic, complete with a luscious pink foam. But if you were watching as I poured that, I wouldn't describe that foam as luscious. I would describe it as slightly foamy with a pinkish tinge, pinkish brown tinge. Looking at the bottom of the can, best before 11th of the 3rd, 2026. Told you I only bought them the other week. So yes, second can in date. In fact, all these cans will be in date. I'll be surprised if they're not. Oh yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Very interesting. Yeah, so I guess the bakery or cake makers they're talking about is their classic beetroot and chocolate cake. Hop says it has blackcurrant flavour. Okay. I can see that actually. black currant flavour in beer I always find really, really difficult, but I can see why that might be, actually. I imagine that would count for that kind of slight fruit note. There is a slight kind of dark berry, dark fruit note. There you go. That's the kind of fruitiness. Say very different from the first one, which was a more, like I say, cherry, red currant, raspberry kind of fruit note. This is definitely a darker fruit note. I can sort of see blackberries now you mention it. Vanessa Kitty, welcome along. Welcome to the Chocolate Cake Club. Beetroot beers. What do you reckon? If somebody doesn't like beer that much, how about this kind of madness? Talking of madness, Sammy, thanks for popping in. Hope you're doing all right, whatever time it is where you are. Short and stout beer reviews. How about this for some weird adjuncts? We've had some weird adjuncts conversations before. Beetroot. What do you reckon, mate? Beetroot in a beer? This is beetroot and chocolate cake stout. 6%. Oh, it is. It's getting more and more cakey. Initial mouthfeel was like, oh, there's a bit of chocolate gatto in that. Then it went a bit chocolate sponge. And now it is, yeah, very much kind of cakey chocolate gatto and a little bit of fruity cream. I think maybe that's the vanilla. I can never actually taste vanilla in beers, same as coconut. But boy, that's a beer. That's really interesting. There's a little bit of savoury edge there now as well. Coming off the back of that sweet, like I say, that balance across chocolate cake, chocolate notes, some fruitiness. I can't taste actual beetroot, mainly because, beetroot, what does it actually taste like? It's not vinegar, because most of us just have pickled beetroot, don't we? Either way, that's an absolute gem of a beer. I did say I thought I enjoyed the first one so much. That beetroot Gose. It wasn't really madly sour for a Gose. I like my stouts, as you know. That's got some really interesting stuff about that. It's got a slightly more savoury. By savoury, I mean kind of. It's got that earthiness of beetroot on the back edge that really totally balances out that kind of chocolate sweetness, vanilla-y kind of sweetness. Beetroot is a weird one. I've had it twice, once in a stout, once in a sour. It's sort of, I guess it lends itself to a sour, but also, beetroot and chocolate cake is apparently a thing. I've had it once or twice. A friend of mine used to make some really good cakes, including that. Judging by that first one where they've extracted some kind of fruit note off the, I guess, beetroot juice, there is obviously like a fruity background behind that kind of savoury edge. But yeah, it's kind of weird, but really, really delicious. Really works really well. Bear me a second. My nose, man. My nose. What can you do? And also, 1.5 way through, it's not too much. That was my question at the start, really. How much beetroot is too much beetroot? At the moment, we've got two different beers balancing off each other. And I don't feel the beetroot is too much. I thought there might be a little bit too much earthy kind of beetroot going on. I also thought stouts might be a bit too heavy with it, but it's a big old stout. It's not too heavy. It's kind of it's a bit velvety, kind of luxurious, like a red velvet cake. You know, I would. I don't think I wouldn't want too much. The first one I could probably chug more than 1 pint of that. This one, it probably needs to be more sipped. It's a big, heavy-bodied stout. Really, like cakiness. Not as cakey as some. Not massively cakey. I say more chocolate sponge and chocolate luxurious decadent chocolate gatto, but it's still got some big cakey flavors there, worthy of the exclamation mark on the can. If New Bristol's adjuncted big adjuncted stouts are all like this, then I'm in for a treat because I've got 3 or 4 others, like I say. Either whether I just whether I can bash them into a theme. I've also got a yellow can, so that will an IPA in a yellow can, so that will go into the yellow theme because I like collecting can colours together. I have started collecting some cans just because of the colour of the artwork, tempered by the beer style. I wonder if they use beetroot instead of lactose. What for the sweetness? That's why I'm surprised there's not oats in there. I thought oats would be the kind of smooth, milky smoothness in it. But yeah, to have a cakey stout without oats, I wonder what the malt bill is like. Is it just chocolate malt, which doesn't necessarily get chocolate? That's more of a bittery chocolate, as I understand it. Bit of black malt. I stopped talking like I know what I'm talking about because I don't. That's just what I've picked up. But there is a little. There's a little drying, almost coconutty kind of dryness to it, right off the back end as well, which I enjoy less than the chocolate gatto note. Say there's earthiness pinging around in there as well, with a bit of savoury. But yeah, just all wrapped up in a big chocolate pillow, chocolate gatto cakey pillow. Brilliant, really nice, different, because of that beetroot in there. It gives that kind of, and I suppose the vanilla, but it gives that, it gives that kind of that fruitiness, dark berries. Bouncing around. Beetroot instead of lactose. I can imagine for the sweetness. I suppose vanilla, it gives that kind of sweetness as well. I'm a little surprised there's no lactose actually. But yeah, wonderful cakiness going on. Minimal lacing, but the bit of there looks pretty good. Looks a little bit of alcohol legs. There's still that kind of pinky red kind of tinge to it. Yeah, really good stuff. Really good start from New Bristol. Going big for the next one. Done it again. Can't breathe. Bear with me a sec. Cheers, Choc. I've just talked out of bollocks for 20 minutes. Luckily, it was all visual, so you could, nobody needed to know my thoughts on what was on their website. Oh well, I'm probably not even in focus anyway, because I was looking back on Monday's stream, and large parts of that were largely out of focus, probably thanks to bandwidth or some technical bullshit I don't understand. Oh, I'm getting a bit leery, aren't I? There you go. Yeah. Well, now I'm not muted. Let's move on. I do appreciate you putting giving us the heads up. Yeah, let's move on then to beer number 3, please. And here we go, beer number 3, a big finish. Yeah, do you know what happens? I'm muted, so you can't hear me blowing me fucking snozzer inside out, so I can actually smell something. It doesn't work because my nose is already blocked up. And I'll step away and click it, and sometimes it double clicks. So, yeah, it was fuzzy the other day. Lol. It's no laughing matter. I ate it, but what can you do? At least I'm here. Right, yeah, so beer number 3 up in Scotland. We're going to now. Barneys beer up in Edinburgh. I had one of their beers the other day. Bought a tidy little 6-pack in from them the other day. I'm not sure what came first. I think it was Vik Beetroot, but then I noticed a couple of other beetroot beers. And this one is a big old 8.4% beetroot brownie Imperial pastry stout. So I think it's going to be vaguely similar to that one. Brownie, I think, maybe a bit more kind of coffee kind of notes. So let's try and clear as much of that last really delightful beetroot chocolate number. Let's see what we get from Barney. See what they've done with beetroot. For no apparent reason, I'm going in the bowl glass on this one because it's an Imperial. Again, fairly thick and luscious, gloopy kind of pour. Thins up a little bit. Fairly bubbly. Just straight tan brown head. No pink tinges really to that one. Not a problem. Looks pretty good. As Shark doing the honors, thank you very much. You can see the red. Well, I can't. Maybe on the very edges, but yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of red on that one. But yeah, Shark doing the honors, reminding me to do the photograph. Thank you. Yeah, Starman, sir. One of the other reasons, well, maybe depends who's noticed this stream, is because apparently, according to the earlier comment from Adam at Mersey Beers, it was actually at 8:30 this morning, suggested that I'd actually put the time on the stream for 9 a.m. So he was there for half an hour before. I did not notice that because at 9 a.m. I was still dashing about trying to get ready to get to work. Desperately trying to finish breakfast. I'm not a morning person. Fortunately, we don't start work too early. Well, my boss did today, but I was in at 10. So 9 o'clock, I was still fussing around trying to get out of bed, breakfast done. Not really worried about the logo. Oh, yes, there it is. But trying to get it in. Yeah, so I think I messed up on the time, so probably YouTube's not bothered to tell anybody about this stream. I'm assuming, Shark, you came across from the Instagram. Might account for Dave Wilson not noticing, because he may or may not see the Instagram thing. I think he normally does, though. Oh, that's terrible. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap over, try and get some light on the things, because that, compared to the other two, Barneys have gone for black writing on a fairly deepish purple can. It's kind of difficult to see the fairly thin, almost Comic Sans writing. You can see the just about make out that it's called Post Mortem. Sounds deadly. No, not happy with that. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Choc, pretty much. Say, guys. Yeah, really difficult. I want to photograph. Let's try it in regular mode. Let's try it with some light. And if I only had to use the flash on this, I don't think that's going to work too well. Oh, there's all sorts of techno fun today. Yeah, technology, yeah, that's better. That'll do. One of them will work out. Spend more. Go on in the morning and have a look back, see what I've said. Where are we at? There we go, doing a photo. Yeah, so I still can't see this red of which you speak. It's a fairly light tan, whitish head. Yeah, there we go. 1:05 a.m. my time instead of 1:05 p.m. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Oh, I know how I did that. I put it up last night when I was absolutely knackered, and it was kind of the last thing I did before I went to sleep because I knew I probably wouldn't get a chance to do it this morning. Yeah, big brew day yesterday. Done a double brew yesterday and today to go into the new tank. So I was absolutely shattered yesterday. Wanted to get into bed early because I was getting up again today to get in for 10 to do exactly the same thing. But yeah, that's why I rushed it. I rushed the reviews for putting out today. Looks red when you poured it. Oh, okay, yeah, I suppose on the tinge on the edge, but yeah, not the slightest hint of red on the tint. So my nose is a bit blocked up, but it still looked pretty good going into the glass, eh? I'm getting some kind of fruity, juicy note going on there. Again, sort of maybe slightly red currant kind of thing. Right, yes. Cheers. Third beetroot beer in a row. Oh, wow. Ooh. So it's a biggish beer at 8.4%. So definitely got that Imperial note going on. So there's definitely a kind of slightly spirity edge to it, but it's almost a brandy kind of note. I want to say Calvados, but I don't actually know what it is. So it's got a fruity spirit edge to it. Again, I don't think if I drunk this blind, I would say beetroot. It's not beetroot from the off. It's a sort of slight red berry kind of fruit note. But it's interesting, all three have had a sort of a fruitier note rather than actually being like smacking you around the face of it's definitely beetroot. Like hard to pick out. Looks really good. Tastes nice, tastes good. The not so much. There's not so much cakiness as the new Bristol. Still really great. Slightly lighter on the cakiness and the mouthfeel. Lighter on the chocolate. A little bit more coffee, maybe. I tell you what, it's more like rather than that one being sort of cakey and gatto. It's more like a what's it called? Like not a fudge brownie. Well, I suppose it is, but more. More sort of cakey, sugary kind of fudgy kind of. Yeah, fudge brownie, isn't it? It is, yeah. So it's more. It's not like muffin. It's not like cake. It's more like sugary kind of like cakiness. Or like sponge or gatto cake, more or less cakey, more kind of kind of fudgy, sugary kind of chocolatiness. Either way, it's good, and that spirity edge to it really brings it up into something really interesting and different. Really drinkable though as well for that high percentage. Nice put together. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Hence being a pastry stout, it's got that kind of sugary pastriness rather than chocolate cakiness of the previous one. It's really nice fruit note, really nice balance to it. Really is one to sit back and think about all those flavors. There's still none of them. This one doesn't say to me beetroot. If I was guessing, I'd go with this one again. It's something like red currant, but with a bit of plum, a bit of darker fruit, maybe blackberry. But at no point of any of those, if I didn't know, would I say beetroot. I mean, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Do you want more beetroot flavour, or do you just want some kind of fruity background to your cakiness? Three fabulous beers, really nice. Really enjoyed all of them. And fortunately, I've got doubles of them all as well. So it's one I can sort of just pull out at any point and sit back and just enjoy. As long as I leave me the stash too long. But yeah, really nice. Really delightful. Really good flavours, really bold, pronounced flavours. Even though that's kind of beetroot is hidden, you're not quite sure what it is, or I'm not quite sure what it is. Yeah. This one is almost, I would say, dessert in a glass, because it's got that kind of, I mean, some people might say it's too sweet. It's got that kind of sugariness. Let's have a look at the can, see what else we can find. I think I looked at Barney's website the other day when I did the Capital Porter, which is a really solid porter. As she says on the 2025 vintage, it's like they know me. I know I'm going to leave it in the stash for far too long. Really good beer to finish any night, to be fair. It's again really hard to read this, mainly because of my eyesight and the fact it's quite small and black on quite a dark colour anyway. Let's get a bit of light on the situation. It says beetroot and chocolate. Yes. The earthy sweetness in beetroot, along with a healthy dose of muscovado sugar. That's the sweetness. Yeah, that's the kind of fruity sweetness going on. Creates a richer, deeper chocolate character in this small batch Imperial pastry stout. Our post-mortem range allows us to dissect and examine unique styles of beer and experiment with unusual processes or ingredients. So there's more of these beers to look out for. See what they do next. Can't see any more info than that, like hops and adjuncts and stuff, but obviously, it's just beetroot and muscovado sugar, I guess. So they're out of Edinburgh. I remember seeing them a few years back, I think, in Aldi, or was it Lidl? Lidl, I think. Can't remember what those beers were. It'll be on Instagram somewhere, but those beers were pretty good, if I remember rightly. and there's some interesting and unusual stuff there. I guess that came off the back of them being in Lidl's in Scotland, because Lidl's and Aldi do a lot of different stuff in Scotland than they do down here in England, which always annoyed me because they always look really good beers and I want them down here. But this is a really, really nice beer. Really drinkable despite 8.4% one. I want to sit back and kind of savour. Really glad I've got another can of all of these, actually. Yeah, I can see that Muscovado sugar coming through now. Sort of that kind of slight sweetness and brown sugar and kind of slight fruitiness as well. Absolutely fabulous. Yeah, I'm just going to sit back, have a think about that beer for the rest of the night. I'm not going to smash it back. I'm just going to enjoy it. I haven't got to go work in the morning, fortunately, although I probably will be up there in the afternoon because the bar's open. So a slightly incoherent and mangled stream tonight. I was just too keen to get these beers out. So thanks all for popping in. Shark, thanks for doing the honours. Hopper and everybody else who's popped in to say hello. If you're watching this after the event, and gosh, I hope somebody does, and you're still watching at this point, I thank you very much indeed for popping in and seeing my thoughts on some fairly odd beers. Do comment below if you are, what you think of beetroot beers. Would you try them? Is this too much beetroot? How much beetroot is too much beetroot? For me, it's not been enough. I say I haven't got to that point when I thought, yeah, that's too much beetroot. I don't even think it's going to turn me piss red in the morning. But yeah, really 3 really, really nice beers. And I think all still available, so check them out. Like I say, Left Field or Trembling Madness for these. Shark, as ever, thank you very much indeed for popping in and doing the honours. Cheers and enjoy the beers. And I might, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm working most of the weekend. So may or may not be around and about catching people on streams over the weekend. Whatever you guys are doing, I hope you have a great one. And I'll see you next week. Loads of stuff planned for next week. Whether any of it happens or not, I have absolutely no idea. As always. But yeah, thanks for joining in the streams and participating and watching me drink some really, really nice beers. So yeah, beetroot, too much beetroot? No, just about enough. Thank you very much indeed. Please click like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it doesn't cost you anything and it's free at the point of dispense. It really helps the channel. You guys have been brilliant. I've been disco. Sat here in front of you all and the cans and bottles here on the bar while I'm still sweetly calling the disco arms. That's my sign off. Here's the outro. Cheers and enjoy the beers. Believe enough to lose control. I haven't said that for a while.